Today on the Backyard Brewer, we're going to unbox and set up the RAPT Fermentation Chamber from Kegland. Why am I doing an unboxing of the RAPT Fermentation Chamber? Surely there's been quite a few of them done already. There have, but I haven't done an unboxing before, and I'm quite interested to see how this goes. Everyone has slightly different requirements, and hopefully there's something here that I can pass on to you. So let's get started. First up, it comes very well packed. The box itself is on a pallet. You can't see the pallet at the moment, I'll show you that later. It's only a small pallet, but it's obviously there to make it easier to handle. These things wouldn't be light. It's strapped down, and overall I'd say at first glance it looks very, very well packed. Let's get the straps off. Now this is going to be a little bit tricky because I've got it here in my brewing area and there isn't that much sealing. Rather, there isn't that much head space. So what I might do is cut the top and then just get a blade from the inside with the blade pointing outwards, not into the fridge. Just cut down the box so that I can peel it away. So as with most large appliances, there's no bottom to the box, it's actually the pallet that's holding it on. Quite well packed, styrofoam on the inside to protect it. So as this is going to be where I keep it, I'm just going to move my workbench out of the way so I can fold this out and get the cardboard out. And then lift it off and move it back into place. So very well protected. It's got a plastic covering over the stainless so it doesn't get too scratched. The sides are quite nice. Now, our next challenge is just getting it down off the pallet. And it's on wheels to make it easy to manoeuvre. That's nice. Okay, so we've got it out of the box. Just move my workbench back and check the positioning, and there we go. So let's open the door. It's a set of, I assume, left-hand hinges if you want to change the door around, and they're the two inlets for putting up here for your gas. Rather than doing it with the knife, let's use the right tool for the job. So when you plug this in, it comes up with some instructions on the screen. It tells you to connect to the Kegland RAPT Wi-Fi network that it sets up, and it gives you the password. So let's do that, and I'll record this and show you somewhere around the screen while I'm doing it. Okay, so we go into settings and Wi-Fi, and there's the Kegland RAPT Wi-Fi and password. Okay, so then we join that Kegland RAPT network, and it automatically takes us into the login screen and comes up with the networks that we want to join. So the networks that it's found around here, and I've got 3 set up. So we're using BrewNet for all the brew gear, and the password for BrewNet and we join. Success. Cool and go. Okay, so now it says register your device by pressing the select button to enter the main menu, then selecting the register device item. So once that gets registered, it puts your phone back onto your normal network. Select button to go to the main menu, then register device. So then it's got some instructions. You go to app.rapt.io, app.rapt.io, Okay, so it's signing me in. Welcome to the RAPT portal. So now I want to go register device in RAPT, and the choices here are Brewzilla, fermentation chamber, temperature controller, or pill. So we're going to select fermentation chamber. It's got some instructions here. Press the next. Now the MAC address is here on the screen, along with a validation code. And the validation code and next, fermentation chamber. You can give it a name. What should we call it? I'm pretty sure you'll be able to change it later. Customer use. Beer fermentation. Yep. And the tick. That's it. It's done. So, if we look at this now, the target temperature is 5 Celsius, but it's currently 0 in there. So on here we can set a new target. Now I want to use this at the moment to cold crush a beer that I've had fermenting. And then we set. It's been updated. So now we look, target is 1 Celsius on there. So that's cool. So you've got complete control of your device from your phone or your laptop or wherever you are. So we'll delve a bit more into the RAPT ecosystem in a little while. So I just want to finish setting this one up. So what I'm going to do now is you can put spunding valves on here so that you can set spunding pressures. You can also set regulators on here so that you can force carb a beer while it's still in the chamber. For mine, because I do a lot of pressure fermenting, I'm going to set both of these up with spunding valves. So I can have 2 beers in there at a time, fermenting under pressure, and I can control the amount of pressure that's in there via the spunding valves. So let's go and get those bits and bobs, and we'll be back in a second. So to mount these spunding valves, I'm going to have to remove the fascia from the front, and while I'm at it, I'm also going to replace the analog gauge with a digital gauge, which has got a nice push button feature to turn it on, and at night it's backlit so you can easily see it. And because this is out here at night, it's going to be much handier to have that backlit feature so that I can check my pressures. So the first thing we do is just remove that panel, and there's a couple of screws just in here to remove, and then on the inside there's just a couple of screws in here as well. And that's a nice feature too. I didn't know about that. When you open the door, it turns the fans off, the recirculation fans off. So they just pull out. And then there's a couple of screws just on the inside here that hold this blanking panel on. So remembering with our spunding valves that there's an arrow on the side that points the direction that the airflow has to go. So it has to go in through here and out through here. So in order to make that work properly, you've got to make sure that you mount this the right way, because I'll just move that out of the way, the EVA tubing, the tubing that you use is going to come up through here and around and into the spunding valve. So you want to make sure that you get that on the right way. Okay, so we just get the screws now that we're holding that blanking plate in. and we use them just to secure the spunding valve. So what I'm going to do now is get my EVA barrier line and drop it down into the fridge. But when you look down there, there's actually a thin cover, a plastic cover, and it's just stuck on the inside. So what I'm going to do, so that we don't make too big a hole and let too much of that cold air out, is just take my screwdriver and poke a hole into it here. Now that's not going to be wide enough, so I'll just get down inside the fridge and open that up a little. Okay. And now that that's opened up, I'm just going to take my EVA barrier line, rather than dropping it down here, I'm just going to push it up through the fridge. And now that makes a nice tight seal that's not going to let too much cold air out. So the next step for this is checking that we've got this going the right way, and we have. So that's going on there. So I don't want, you've got these holes that will allow you to put caps and carb caps and stuff like that on, that you can come in handy when you're doing like forced carb, but not so handy, that's around the wrong way, not so handy when you're just doing spunding. And the reason being is that because this is a spunding valve, I don't need to connect anything there. I can just leave that open. There's no liquid coming up through there, or there shouldn't be. If there is, then we've had a very active ferment and we need to clean things out anyway. So what I'm just going to do is bring this up, drop it down into the channel, connect it into the spunding valve, make sure that it's nice and tight, and then just push this back on. Okay, our little white screw. There's another one that needs to go inside the fridge. Now the last thing to do for this side is just finish assembling the spunding valve. And that's just a matter of screwing this in and this in. So that'll take 2 seconds. Just push the excess down in there. Now the other side is just a repeat of that, so you don't need to watch that. I'll be back in a second once I've finished the second side. So that's it. The fridge is installed. It's logged onto the RAPT portal. It's cooled down now to 1 degree. I'm going to throw a pale ale in here in a minute. But the last job to do before I do that is connect these gas disconnects onto the hosing on the inside so that we can connect them to the top of the pressure fermenters. And that is simply job done. I'm not going to cut these, well not yet anyway, I'm going to wait and see. I mean obviously that one is way too long, but I'm just going to see, I may need to run this tubing up along here to keep it out of the way, and I'll just see how we go. So off to grab the pale ale, and I'll show you it in here in a sec. There we are, our first beer in the RAPT Fermentation Chamber. That's going to cold crash for a day or two. And in the meantime, I've some brewing to do. I've got a space I need to fill. So that's it for today's episode. We've got this installed and set up. I'll do a bit more work on the RAPT portal later, and anything that's important that you need to know, I'll throw that into another video. Now one question I haven't really addressed is, why did I go for a RAPT fermentation chamber? Well, the fermentation chamber I've been using is our old fridge, and it works well. I've got a temperature controller on there that's got a probe that gets taped to the side of the fermenter so that you can roughly keep the temperature stable, but it's not the best in the world, and it's certainly it's certainly limited on space because it's only a single height fridge, so it's unlike this. I can only fit one fermenter into it at a time. At least with the fermentation chamber, I'll be able to fit 2 brews in there, side by side, ferment them at the same time, keg them, and move on. And the other thing is, this will be a lot more accurate at keeping a stable temperature than a fridge with a probe that's just taped to the side of the fermenter. The other thing that you can do with this that I will show when I unbox them as well is you can use the RAPT pills, the digital hydrometer, and you can bridge it, or I'm not sure what you do, I think you pair it with the fridge, and it will use the pill as well as the fridge, so you're getting an accurate reading of the temperature from within the brew, within the beer, within the wort, as well as the temperature of the fridge. So at the moment it's only going off what the temperature of the sensor inside the fridge is saying. But when I pair the RAPT pill, it'll be a much more controlled process. There'll be a lot more control of the temperature. And there's a few other neat things that you can do with this too that will come out in another video. But that's it for today. So don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. It helps the channel out to let YouTube know that this content is valuable to you. And always remember, enjoy your hobby, but drink responsibly.